An alien spacecraft crash lands and falls in love with the greatest nation this world has ever known. Go America! Welcome to Creepin' It Real. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about Invader, a 1991 or 92 film, depending on where you look. And I think the discrepancy comes from potentially it was started back in the 80s and ran out of funding, and then they proceeded to do some work, and then when it was fully done, it finally got a video release in 92. I think that's how the history of this goes. This film was directed by Philip Cook. From what I understand, his previous movie before Invader did not go quite so well, and he could not secure funding for Invader. So with the money that he did have, he filmed quite a bit and then shopped what he had actually done around. Finally found somebody that was impressed and believed that he could pull off a good movie, and they gave him the rest of the funding. From what I remember, the total budget for this movie is around $238,000. And honestly, it's quite impressive what they did with that money. Now, that doesn't mean it's a great movie, but it's still impressive with what they worked with. So let's check out this trailer and let's talk about this thing.
When two worlds collide, only one survives. Invader. Photojournalist Jason McCall and Air Force Captain Ron Anders.
Already this trailer does not really, it really doesn't pump anything up. I'm not getting I must watch this movie. And well, actually that kind of leads into why I did watch this movie, but we'll talk about that later after we get through this.
Are about to encounter a new kind of enemy.
20 seconds, they're in missile range of the White House.
An extraterrestrial gets into the U.S. defense system.
And I think it's escaped. How? Through the phone line.
This is an emergency.
Brainwashing military personnel. Controlling nuclear missiles. And creating the ultimate galactic weapon. It's up to McCall and Anders to save the world from total destruction. Invader. The unknown should be left alone.
I didn't watch this movie because I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, this looks fun. I watched the movie because I saw the poster, this freaking poster right here. This poster has nothing to do with this movie. Never did this image ever appear anywhere in the movie. Read somewhere that even the crew, when they saw the poster that was picked, was like, what the heck? This has nothing to do with our movie. The image clearly caused people back then to pick up the movie, and it clearly caused me to watch it now. Was I disappointed? Yes, but that's what clickbait does. But also what I read, I think in 2006, they released it from his company on DVD. And when they did, they actually updated it and they did some CG work in it to enhance the visuals in some aspects, which really makes me curious as to what the original film looked like. It starts out in a very stereotypical X-Files sort of way. I mean, really, I felt like that's what I was watching. You have these guys from a military base trying to escape. You don't understand what's going on. They get stopped by some other military men with rifles and stuff, and they get chased down through the forest. Most of them get shot. One guy gets burnt to a crisp, as you saw in the trailer, by some kind of object that's in the sky. Very, very X-Files. Then you have this photojournalist who is just working this job that he hates. He works for a paper that's essentially the Inquirer, you know, like Bat Boy, you know, dogs with two heads, kind of stuff like that. And he really hates his job because he envisioned himself being bigger and breaking bigger stories and so forth. His editor gets wind of this story and he sends him down there. Well, he's just like, Here's just another goose chase for these unbelievable bullshit. Well, he goes down there and he finds that there's actually something real happening. And he's excited about this and he gets caught up in the whole thing. But this movie is very much a throwaway sci-fi light horror movie. The stop motion at the end with the robot was pretty fun. Now, the greatest aspect of this movie, sure, it goes back to the beginning. The whole thing is this spacecraft lands, it crashes. Okay, the military gets it and they try to reverse engineer aspects of the spacecraft, okay? So they connect it to the military system because that always is the best idea. Let's just connect this alien tech to all the information about our society. So this alien tech starts taking over the system, but it doesn't just take it over, it becomes influenced by American propaganda. And it becomes a hardcore patriot. This alien spacecraft becomes a freaking flag-waving, America-loving, red, white, and blue, NASCAR beard-chugging America lover. It just wants to protect America. It wants to protect our way of life. It wants to make sure every one of us, and me and you, gets to fulfill the American dream. And the only way it can do that is by destroying our enemies, obviously Russia and China. So it takes over our systems and it's all like, we're going to nuke Russia and China. America, ooh, number one. Okay, yeah, America's like badass and all, but I don't really think we should go nuking Russia and China. So we got to stop this situation, which is what the whole movie is about. And it goes into this big battle, they shooting freaking rocket launchers at it and stuff, and they finally defeat it. But the reality is they could have ended this way sooner. All they had to do is like raise an American flag and start singing the Star Spangled Banner. That thing would have stopped, put his hand over its heart, started saying the Pledge of Allegiance. As it's distracted by that, they just freaking blow it away. But no, they got to do all this rigmarole running around and stuff. Could have ended much earlier. So does this movie have an entertainment value? Yes, it does. You are totally getting a sci-fi B movie. It could have been so much better had they fully leaned in to the satire of this super patriotic alien. My gosh, it could have been so funny. It took itself very seriously, which is odd for the premise. All of you out there, if you have seen this movie, it has a very special place in your heart. I want to hear about this because despite me ending at it being probably a 4 out of 10, let's give it a 4.5 out of 10. And it did have some enjoyment as far as the practical effects go. This wasn't a great movie, but if somebody out there has a real connection to this from them being a child and seeing this, I want to hear about this. Because as I've mentioned in other past videos, robots, killer robots, big ass robots, as a kid, man, that was my thing. I would have loved this movie. But seeing it now at my age, it just doesn't really hit as much. And again, I really think they missed the mark with the humor of this movie. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. This has been Creepin' It Real. I'm Judah, and I'll see you later.